Let's get down to brass tacks. Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, guys, Sunday night, and that means, once again, we're going to head into Battle World. Coriander's with me, of course, and Eric. And guys, tonight, we're going to get a little weird. That's what we're going to do.
A little?
We're going to... right. We're going to get a lot weird. We're going to be... we could talk about two movies that are crazy. This is going to be a lot of fun for you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We had to reschedule this. Life happens, but we're here. We're ready to rock and hang out with you guys for a little while. So thank you so much for joining. Eric, before we get into this, and then I want to take a second to talk to the chat. But first, I'll start with you, Eric, and then Coriander. These two films, not getting too deep into it, but how surprised were you when you watched these movies?
Without getting into too specifics, with Possessor, a lot of weight on Brandon Cronenberg's shoulders, with considering who his father is. Yeah. I think he hit it out of the park, and I was left very speechless at the end. And I'll say this, when it came to the substance, I was so blown away. Night, you remember the first time I watched it, I was literally texting you while I was watching the film because some of the stuff I saw, I just couldn't believe, in a happy way, in a good way.
Right, absolutely. Coriander, how about you? Without getting deep into this, just how crazy was this experience watching these two films?
Possessor was like, I don't ever really remember seeing that movie. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And the other one, I mean, you thought society was crazy. Yeah, this like tops society, let me tell you. So that's all I have to say.
Oh man, it's absolutely crazy. Okay, let's get to the comments here real quick, then we'll get going. We got Paula's in the house. What's going on, Paula? Good to see you. We got Gory in the house saying, what's up? What's up, Gory Tiger? We got Jean. Jean's in the house saying hello to everyone. Jean, thank you so much. Always hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Kay in the house. What's up? Good to see you. We got my man Jeff in the house. What's up, Jeff? Saying hello to everyone. Good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Let's see. And hey, we got Jeff coming in early with a super chat, $10 super chat. Man, thank you so much. Seriously. Wow. We appreciate that. Seriously, it helps us out so much. Saying, thought I'd tell everyone that I'm having surgery tomorrow morning early. Ooh, for hernia. Still try to be on as much as I can after surgery. Tell y'all how I love this horror community. Oh, well, geez. Yeah, good luck. And thank you for being here. We hope that this is something that you can enjoy. And definitely good luck tomorrow.
Take your mind off your pain. All I can think about is like Joey and Friends, right? When he gets that hernia and it's like, oh my God, man, it's poking out.
Oh no.
Yeah. Poor
Well,
guy, I
look,
feel for you.
absolutely. And let us know how you're doing. We're going to definitely be in touch. We're going to be doing some other stuff this week. So Jeff will be around. The community will be around to hang out with you. So definitely, as our good buddy Steven always says, we do life together. So we will be there. We will be there. So look, let's do a quick super chat clip for our man Jeff. And Eric, sometimes you just got to wonder in life, what's the best thing? How do we get to perfection? And this guy might be able to tell us how we do it.
So in tasting, what we do is take a small amount right off the top. It doesn't take much. That's the warmest part right here. I'm going to invert the spoon. Cover all 9,000 taste bud. Aerate it. Warm it up. Driving up that top note, that cream, pure vanilla, sweeteners. That's a 10.
That's a 10, bro. That's a 10.
No.
I couldn't even look at the screen.
Thank you so much, Jeff. We appreciate you, man.
Don't even have anything to say about that one.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Kay said I'm currently watching Possessor on Tubi. Well, there you go. You got to catch up. Hey, JPEG. Good to see you. Hey, we got Ben also in the house coming in with a $10 super chat. Ben, wow.
Hey.
Thank you. Wow, that is so cool, you guys. You guys keep this thing alive. Seriously. Saying, hey, Night, Coriander, and Eric, and everyone. I love the substance. It may crack my top 5 of the year. Haven't seen Possessor. Don't feel like you can spoil anything on my account. Love you guys. Thank you so much, man. Seriously. We appreciate you. And again, you guys really help to keep us able to do what we do. You know what I mean? You keep the lights on.
When we do it.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
we used to do it all the time. It feels like we were live all the time. And now, not so much. But yeah, when we do it.
What?
So embrace us. You see us on, click on and enjoy us because you see us when we see us. No. Sorry, babe. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have no idea what to even say. But look, let's do a clip for my man Ben. How do I follow that?
It's good to be back. How about that?
There you go. There you go. Hey, look, Eric, sometimes even those that we might have enjoyed, on TV, sometimes when you see a more realized version of them, it might throw you a little bit off, and it might look like this.
The man with the gray shirt and exposed gums. Sir. You will never get this. You will never get this. La 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 la.
There you go. All right.
That was the best Saturday Night Live sketch that I was able to see when they were doing it. And oh my God, man, that was great. Good job.
Like the first time I laughed for Saturday Night Live in a long time.
Yeah.
And the fact that actor
great,
and who is it? Who's the other guy? The guy who played Beavis. He was in Barbie.
Right, Ryan Gosling.
Thank you. The fact that they kept it going at red carpet premieres and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good one. All right, Ben, thank you so much as well. We appreciate it. Let's see who else we got in here. We got JPEG. We got Jeff saying, "Get ready for the spirit of February Valentine's. I watched 1981, My Bloody Valentine today." There you go.
Nice.
There you go. It's a classic. It's a classic. Okay. All right. So let's get ready to do this thing. You guys know how we do this. We're going to be giving our points to the film that we think deserves it. We're going to go category by category. And for you guys in the chat, let us know what you think about these films. We won't get to everyone's comment. That's just not possible. But if you do send in a super chat, we'll make sure to get your comment or question. And you can also put the points to the film of your choice. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And real quick, Ginger Ninja's in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you too. Thank you for being here, man.
Hey.
Okay, so let's start this thing off. You guys know how we do this. Eric, as always, we're going to start off with the poster work for The Substance and for Possessor. So, Eric, let us know who you're going to go with for the point and why. We've got the poster for Possessor and, of course, The Substance.
They're both really good in their own ways. Possessor is I really what the fuck is going on type of poster, and The Substance is more subtle but still has a little bit of mystery.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with The Substance, and I think it's because it's not as air quotes weird and different as Possessor. It's not as in your face, so that makes me more intrigued. You know what I mean? It's just a woman laying down with a giant surgical scar on her back,
Mm-hmm.
top to bottom. What is that? That makes me wonder more what The Substance is, because it's body horror, because of surgery and stuff like that. Although I
Mm-hmm.
do like the look of Possessor, I love the use of the yellow and the black of Possessor, but I'm gonna go with The Substance for the subtlety and the mystery.
Okay, all right. Coriander, how about you?
I am actually going to go with Possessor. I like that
Okay,
quite a bit. Yeah, it's creepy. So,
all right.
yeah.
Cool. For me, I think both of these posters are good. Matter of fact, I think they're great. It's funny because we've talked about a lot of posters on Battle World, and obviously, if you guys haven't checked out our playlist, check it out. We've had so many amazing conversations about some amazing films. But when you talk about posters, I think both of these films are great examples of how you can be creative with posters. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously these aren't science fiction films, so it's not totally, fantasy like. They're taking images that we, are accustomed to, and they're warping them in some way, shape, or form. But they're both great. But if I had to give the point, I'm actually going to go with Possessor on this, and I'm going to tell you why. I think it's because it's just so creepy. Like, even when I look at the poster, I'm like, how do they make that image look like that?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with it? Plus the stark color, that yellow, it just pops right at you, and it just makes me just so interested in it. Also, and I know Kill talks about this type of stuff a lot too. The font, like it just has a weirdness to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good presentation of a poster. So I'm gonna go with Possessor on this one, but both of them are amazing. Okay, let's jump to the chat. Let's see. And Ben is saying he's putting his 10 points to The Substance because I've seen it. Okay. Oh, you haven't seen Possessor. Oh man. It's too bad you haven't seen Possessor. You guys check out both movies. That
Mm-hmm.
way you'll know. That way you'll know. Okay, so we've got 10 points that'll be going to The Substance. Okay. Let's see. And Paul is saying The Substance, image of the scar is a plot of the movie. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yep. And Jeff also has not seen Possessor. Oh wow, guys. You guys should check it out. When we have these battles, guys, definitely check out both films. That way you'll know.
Yeah,
Neither
just remember, chat. There will be spoilers for certain categories. So
that's true. That's true. But that way you guys will be able to, kind of give your idea on either film. Okay. So let's move on. Eric, we're gonna move as usual to the tagline. We're going to go to the taglines of the film. Now, here's the thing, Eric. Both of these movies, again, are just batshit crazy. But for The Substance, we have the tagline: if you follow the instructions, what could go wrong? Okay, so that's the tagline for The Substance. And the tagline for Possessor is: no body is safe.
See, those are actually really good, and they really fit with the movies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, and it's one of those 51-49 things. You know what I mean? I slightly go with Possessor because I think it fits with the movie, and I like how it's literally it's not nobody, it's no body is
Yes.
safe, and I think that's more like they're both very creative, but that one, just the way you just change a word and make it into two words, it makes it more, it makes it pop more for a tagline. So I'm going Possessor.
Okay, all right. Coriander, how about you? What do you think about these taglines?
Yeah, pretty much to the point, but like
Mm-hmm.
Eric, I think I'm gonna go with Possessor also.
Okay, all right. For me, they're creative taglines. You know what I mean? Like they're not too wordy. They get to the point. But for some reason, I gotta agree with you guys. I'm gonna go with Possessor as well because I like the idea of it saying no body is
Mm-hmm.
safe. You know what I'm saying? And for me, the tagline when it obviously I'm grading it on the wording itself, but for me it almost gets extra points when it flows with the actual poster. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, wow, like everything flows together with it, even the title of the movie. So I'm going to edge this one out to Possessor, just like you guys. Okay, in the chat we got Ginger Ninja saying my vote goes to Possessor. The face, the distortion, it's creepy in a way you don't know what's actually happening. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree. Paul is going with the substance, and we got Kay going with the substance. Okay. Very, very cool. Okay, next up, let's just talk about the opening for a quick moment. And of course, and Eric, we're going to be starting with you, of course. And of course, the opening, it can be just a couple of minutes of a movie. It also can be sometimes, as we've seen, it can be, 15, 20 minutes of a movie. Eric, what did you think about the opening of these two films, and which do you give the point to?
Both are really good. I like the how the substance deals with Elizabeth's aging. You know what I mean, with the
Yes.
Hollywood star. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's done perfectly. And then the car accident. When she's paying attention to her getting her poster ripped down off the billboard.
Yeah.
That's done well. But I'm going with Possessor because I don't know. The first time I watched, I don't know what the hell I'm getting into.
Mm-hmm.
You see
Mm-hmm.
the little bit of surgery with the young lady with the needle in the head, the
Mm-hmm.
murder, how she's
Yeah.
going to take herself out of the situation after she does the murder, but she can't
Yeah.
go through with it. And then you hear her yell, "Pull me out!" And then it zaps to what the real plot of the movie is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To stay kind of vague, and that sticks with you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't know what I saw. The first time I watched this movie, I've seen it like 3 times. First time I watched, I had the DVD. I had to rewind it and make sure I paid attention with what I saw. It's very intense, and it's one of those. Did I just see that type of thing? Because there's so much, but so little going on.
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
big time.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Coriander, how about you? What did you think of the openings, and who gets the point on this one?
Yeah. It's kind of funny because Eric, with you even describing this opening, I don't remember. I don't know. So
Really?
I'm gonna have to
Well,
give it to the
it had been a little while
substance.
since we saw it, but
Okay.
he
Yeah,
basically it was the assassination.
I guess.
All right, come on now.
Hey, I'm just saying it like it is, man. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen it once, and what does that tell you guys?
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. So you're going with the substance. Okay.
Yes.
All right. For me, to me, this easily goes to Possessor. This is actually the first Easy Street situation. And Eric, you explained it perfectly. It's this thing where you dropped right into the middle
Mm-hmm.
of the action, and you don't know what's going on. And it's basically an assassination that happens, but it's the way that it's shot. It seems so surreal. And of course, we don't know, and we're going to start getting into a little bit of spoilers. And of course, as the viewer, we don't know exactly what's going on, like you said. But there's it's almost a little meta because the way that the assassination takes place with this young lady,
Mm-hmm.
it works because, of course, the body is being controlled, out from the outside. Like when you said when she says, "Pull me out," so
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's very surreal, and you're just on the edge of your seat. It's funny because it's almost like the opening of Possessor. And I don't know if this was on purpose, but it's almost like Brandon Cronenberg wanted to have like, it's almost like a finale that happens in the opening. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
at the end, you also have a finale. So I don't know if that was on purpose, but it was a very powerful opening. So this isn't even close. I mean, The Substance obviously has a great opening too, but it's more like setup for the character. We get that in Possessor, plus this opening that's almost like a finale. It's crazy. So,
and
all
then
right.
you get that jolt when she is pulled out. It's like a completely different world. And again,
Yes.
that's why I'm like, what did I have to rewind to make sure I know what I'm watching type of thing. It was really cool.
Yeah.
See,
Yep.
I don't even know what the hell I was watching because I don't remember
Well,
any of
neither.
this.
Well, no, I
Any of
didn't
it.
know either. But well, as we talk about it, it'll jog your
I
memory.
don't
I'm
think
sure it will.
so. I don't
Well,
know, man.
all right. Ginger Ninja saying, been too long since I've seen the opening of Possessor, so I will go with The Substance. Okay. All right. We got a night of horror in the house. What's going on? Good to have you here. And she's saying, love The Substance, but Possessor has the better opening. Yeah, I agree with that. Jato's in the chat. What's going on? We got Rachel in the house. What's going on?
Hi, Rachel.
Good to see you, Rachel. Hope you're doing well. Night of Horror saying Possessor has the better opening. It was crazy action. You had no clue what was really going on. I know. Like I said, it was a great, like you're right in the middle of this world, you know?
Yeah, knocked it from my memory. So, woof. Good for
Chat
you.
said it was
No.
batshit crazy. It was. Yeah. Well, you'll be all right. As we talk, you'll be all right. All right. Next up, Eric, when we talk about the overall story of these films, what do you think and who gets the point?
This one's tough because they're both creative. I think I'm gonna go with The Substance because
Okay.
from like we always say, from A to Z. There's some parts in Possessor that I still don't understand. You know what I mean? This is one of those multiple watch type movies.
Oh yeah.
And for me, it's easier for me to understand The Substance from beginning to end. Plus, I like a lot of the themes with aging, an older actress, air quotes, being replaced with a younger actress, despite that it technically kind of being the same person. I love that. The jealousy, all that. And then when we get to, I know it's going to be a category, when we get to the finale, we all know that all bets are off. So it's for me, it was a roller coaster ride. You know, the first half of the movie is just going up the roller coaster, and then once you hit that halfway mark, you're going down for the loops and everything. And I loved it.
All right. Okay. Coriander, how about you? What do you think about the stories, and which one do you think was better?
I'm gonna have to go with The Substance. I mean, how many movies have you seen like this? You know, so that's what I'm gonna give. There you go. There's my answer. Yeah.
All right. You know, for me, I think both of these films, they're interesting how they tackle the idea of body horror. You know what I mean? One of them is very, let's just say, organic in nature, and the other one is more cerebral. You know, and I think that it's an interesting way to do a film where one, like you said, Eric, with The Substance, you're talking about the whole idea of aging and being able to deal with that and accept yourself, you know, love yourself. And of course, with Possessor, it's this whole idea of almost like you don't love yourself enough, and as you're taking control of these other bodies, you're kind of absorbing these other people's mentalities and their personalities, and you kind of separate yourself from reality because that's the only way you can exist. You know what I mean? That was the thing about Voss in that movie, is that she couldn't exist in the real world. You know, she had a family that she was totally blocked off from by her own choice. You know, this was a job she did, you know, inhabiting other people's bodies. She chose to do that, and she started to lose control of who she is as she's, you know, in this crazy world. So I say all that to say, I'm going to give the point also to The Substance. And the reason why is I think that the themes that it was dealing with, both films are multi-layered, but I think The Substance was able to hit these themes in a way that not only was there horror, but there was also emotion. You know, there was sadness in it as well. You know, when you're watching it, there's a genuine sadness that you feel, and I think that that the story was able to do that. So I'm just going to edge it out to The Substance. Okay. Real quick too in the chat to catch up to these guys. Ginger Ninja saying the substance, he's going with the substance, love the whole Hollywood youth obsessed storyline and how they fought against each other. Yeah. Yep. Night of Horror saying Possessor for me is like Tenet. Ooh, that's a good comparison. Love the movies, but I feel dumb after watching because I have no idea what was happening. Yeah, it's like Eric said, it's definitely a multiple watch type of film. You know, you've got to really, again, it's very cerebral, you know, to its credit, or it could be a disadvantage. Maybe we'll see as we continue.
Yeah, like I said, this was my third time watching, and there's still some parts that are confusing to me. You know, so
Yeah.
it's not just you. It's a tough watch for some people because of that.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, there's a lot going on, and you really have to key in. You have to key
Like for
in.
me, the first part of the Possessor was like I couldn't really get into it, but the last half, like I could. So yeah.
I could get that.
Yeah, I can understand that. Absolutely. Okay, next up, Eric, we're going to be talking about the cinematography for the films. So, who gets the point and why?
Ooh, this is tough because they both look really, really good.
They do.
You know what? I think I might go slightly with Possessor because just the use of colors and camera shots, and you really feel what's the character's name? Is it Vaz?
Vaz. Yep.
You've like a lot of the times when she's on screen, you know, practicing how she's going to talk to her family before she opens the door. You can tell, you know, she looks alone just on the camera and how detached she is and just stuff like that. And I think the way Brandon Cronenberg uses the camera, and I'm sure he learned a lot from his dad. It is what it is. I think he just kind of gets ahead of it with that. He's really, really talented, and I became a fan of him after this movie, and not just because I'm a fan of his father.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Coriander, how about you? What do you think?
You know, I did enjoy the color use in Possessor. But I think I'm gonna have to go with the substance.
Okay. All right. For me, I think that you know, both of these films are really beautiful movies. Like they're so well shot. And the camera is almost like another character. It's very alive. You know, it's following these characters around so much. So this is actually a really tough one because like in The Substance, you have a lot of bright colors. You know what I'm saying? Like there's this rainbow of colors throughout the film, and the camera work when you're following Demi Moore's character Elizabeth, when you're following her around when she's walking, or even Sue, you know, when they're in the office and they're in the longest hallway of all time, only second to the cult facility in Halloween 6, of course.
I was waiting for that.
But the camera, yeah, right. The camera work is just so great. But Possessor, there's a little bit more scenery that it covers, and it also is very alive. I think I'm going to edge this one out to Possessor just because of the fact not only do you have like more scenery and just different shots, but like you said, Eric, there are scenes like when Voss is trying to practice on how to talk to her own family, her son and her husband, just the way the camera is got her you know, squared in, it's talking about her existence as well. But plus the scenes where it gets batshit crazy, that's some great stuff too. It's great in The Substance too. So this is really difficult, but I'm going to edge it out to Possessor on this.
What's great in Possessor too is like when she's just sitting on the couch, you know, and she's watching her son play with the robot. Look how cold that house looks. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, it's subtlety. You know what I mean? You get the point because she's so cold to her family, but that works too. You know what I mean? How detached she is. It's just like a cold feeling. He's proud. Look what I did with my robot, Mom. And she cares about him, but she doesn't, you know, type of thing. You can get that just by the way the camera and the use of colors.
Yeah. It's crazy how, you know, in movies, this can be such an important thing, you know, and I think both of these films understand that, and they do a hell of a job to really immerse you into these worlds. with the camera work is just really well done for both films. So real quick too in the chat, we got Bernard in the house. What's going on? Welcome to the chat. Saying didn't like The Substance. It was putting me to sleep. Okay. All right. Paula is going with The Substance for cinematography. Okay. Ginger Ninja saying The Substance, the difference between scenes, especially the alleyway to where she gets the substance from, the hallway, all of it, it works. Yeah, that hallway was crazy, man. I mean, and you could get the Shining vibes in that hallway, the coloring and the carpeting. I was like, oh, I know what you're doing there. You guys are doing a good job. Okay, Eric, next up, let's talk about the characters of these movies. So obviously in The Substance, you know, we have multiple characters. Obviously Elizabeth and Sue are the biggest the biggest characters that we are around the most. And then of course with Possessor, it's really crazy because you have Colin, who Voss inhabits his body. He's a big part of it. But we've got Voss herself. We even have Jennifer Jason Leigh. We've got Sean Bean, and obviously her family, her husband and son. So who gets the point for characters and why?
Oh, I'm going The Substance.
Okay.
I really like the characters in Possessor. I feel for Vaz. I feel for the character she takes possession over. Sean Bean is a good asshole. You know what I mean? He's supposed to be.
That's right.
I really like Jennifer Jason Leigh. You know, it's good to see her. You know, I'm glad. You know, she worked with David. I'm glad to see her working with Brandon. But I'm going to Substance. Demi Moore rocks this movie. She is so good in this. From just her fall, like I don't know if it's the right term or word, but her fall from grace. You know what I mean? Being the TV star and now what she becomes. The actress who plays Sue is so good.
Yeah, Margaret Qualley.
And you know, I said Sean Bean's a good asshole. I think Dennis Quaid is an even bigger asshole. And cinematography wise, the close-ups when he's eating the prawns and stuff like that, he's just so slimy and disgusting, but it fits for his character because he's a TV exec. I don't care. This lady's too old. Let's get some new blood in here, you know, bring in the ratings. That's all that matters for. And he just knocks it out of the park. You know what I mean? So I gotta go Substance.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I do remember, you know, Voss and that other person.
Colin.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. And with The Substance, I mean, you've got, some pretty, you know, characters that you can't forget. So, yeah, definitely I'm going to give it to The Substance.
Okay. All right. You know, for me, this is an interesting one because like with Possessor, I think that you get a chance to be around more characters, just a little bit deeper, especially obviously Voss and Colin. Which, by the way, too, man, shout out to Christopher Abbott who played Colin because he was just in The Wolfman from Leigh Whannell. So shout out to him. You know, starting to get some higher profile roles, but you know, you're around Sean Bean as well, and Sean Bean is always fantastic. But I think this one has to go to The Substance. There's no doubt at all that you get this opportunity to spend a lot of time with Demi Moore's character Elizabeth, and just seeing that arc. You know, this was a role, justifiably so, being nominated. She did so much, and it wasn't just about the dialogue. A lot of it was just the physicality and the emotion. You know, she did a lot of physical acting, which I was really impressed by, because sometimes that's a lot harder to connect with. You know what I'm saying? If you've got great dialogue, it's kind of easier to connect with a character as long as they deliver it well. But she did a lot of great physical acting, and of course, Margaret Qualley did a great job as Sue. You know, this dynamic, the opposite sides of the same coin, and what she was able to do. So I've got to go with The Substance on this. No shade to Possessor, but I think with The Substance, the characters, they just popped a lot. You know what I mean? So okay. Ginger Ninja saying Possessor was good, but Sue and Elizabeth were just too good. Yep. Let's see. Paul is saying that let's see. I just Academy Award nominated for Demi, so The Substance. Okay, yeah. And not to mention Dennis Quaid, who was super awesome in a gross way. Absolutely, very true. Very true. All right. Next up, we got a new category, Eric. We've got the oh shit factor. First of all, this is how we're going to do this. We want you to give us the scene or the moment that just was like the oh shit moment between either of these films, and that will be the point. So either a moment or a scene from either film that you would choose as that moment where you were just like, oh shit, you know. And of course, if there were multiple scenes, which in my opinion there were for both of these movies, which one was the biggest oh shit moment for you?
Okay. The way you worded that, I'm going to, and it might show my cards for a possible future category, but I'm still going to go with what I'm going to say, okay? I'm going with Possessor.
Okay.
And it's the very end concerning Vaz's son.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yep. Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you? Which of these films had the biggest oh shit moment? And what is it for you?
Probably The Substance.
Okay.
When Sue, you know, it's towards the end and everything's like falling off her and she's going, what? Does she go home? She goes somewhere. And yeah, and she goes back to the stage and she's all like got Demi's fake face on her.
Yeah.
And you know, you just know there that the oh shit factor's about to pop off. So yeah.
All right. Very, very cool. For me, this is so difficult. Okay, because both of these movies have a couple of scenes that is just like, oh shit. And I think just to say real quick, I think that's a credit to both of these films. But for me, and Coriander, you might remember this, but I've got to go with Possessor on this. And Eric, you said it exactly. It's exactly that point of the film. We can't go too deep into it. Thank you, YouTube. But when things are happening and you're following the formula of what the movie, you know, has shown us, and all of a sudden that moment with the son, I literally said, oh shit. I literally said that. I could not believe it. I hadn't seen something like that since Assault on Precinct 13. If you know, you know. Okay, so to me,
see, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, you remember that?
I think, oh yes, I remember it now. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember it now, yeah.
Because first of all, I was like, how, what? And then, and of course, the reality of what happened, it was like, oh my God. And it was so like, wow. Like, I wish I could talk about it, but you know, I can't say it. Anyways, if you guys have not seen Possessor, you should watch Possessor. As we always say with Battle World, when we have these two films against each other, you really can't judge it fairly if you haven't seen both films. So check it out. That's why we try to put these up at least a few days in advance. So Ginger Ninja, yeah, man, saying I think I need to revisit Possessor. Yeah, you do.
It's on Tubi, so it's you can watch it for free. So
yep. The ending was
like the beginning. Like it's so crazy. The beginning, but yes, you know, the ending. Obviously remembering.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
It builds up. See now that you remember it, you're like, oh man, yeah.
But still, I still don't think. You know, I still think that. Anyway, yeah. I'm not going to say it.
We got real quick in the chat. We got my man Super Tenor having a channel member anniversary, 13 months, man. Awesome. And he says, hey, gang, I haven't seen either of these. Wow. You guys are tripping me out. You got to check them out, man. You got to check them out. They're awesome. They really are. Thank you so much, man, for all the support. We appreciate it. Seriously, it helps us out. And congrats. Okay, next up, the creepy vibes. Okay, so when we talk about these two movies, Eric, another newer type category for us, the creepy vibes, What is a moment, if you have a moment or scene that gave you the creepiest vibes, or either which film do you think has more? I want to try to make it easy because it's tough. Both of these films are pretty damn creepy.
Okay, I'm going to go with what you said second, which had more, and I'm going to go with Possessor. I think Possessor is more creepy. As creepy as the substance is, the fact that someone can literally go, kidnap me and go into my body, my subconscious, and control my actions, that's creepy enough as it is. But the fact that Vaz literally has to probably stalk the person for a few days or so, watch through their windows to learn the body language, learn the way that they talk, the fact that they're being followed, basically kidnapped and then taken over, and then they're done. You know what I mean? Lack of a better term for YouTube.
Yeah.
I think that just gives you a really bad feeling. You know what I mean? As the substance more disgusting to me. I'm kind of creeped out by the whole idea of Possessor.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I don't think I would really appreciate, somebody taking fluid out of my body and, having it for dinner. And, when I'm like out and you pretty much she can do anything to your body, because you're out of it. You don't. So, that to me is creepy in itself, and the fact that if you go over your time, what happens? Nah, I'm all set with that shit. Nah.
All right. Okay. To
Grow old
me,
gracefully, that's the way
yeah.
to do it. Mm.
Yep. To me, this is really tough because both of these films, just the nature of these films is just creep factor 100, right? But I have to edge this one out to Possessor. And the reason why is because, like, the thing about the substance is they make that choice, right? Demi Moore made that choice to do it, which, of course, yes, it's creepy. And what happens is absolutely creepy.
But she didn't know exactly what was going to happen,
Right. But I'm just
until it was
right.
too
But
late.
the reason I'm going with Possessor for creepy is because, like you were saying, Eric, you're getting hijacked. You don't know. And Colin, as he started to fight his will, remember his will was fighting Voss, and he had those moments where he's like, "What did you do to me? What are you doing?" And when he confronts the husband, is like, "Where's your wife? Why is she doing this to me?" It's just creepy stuff, man. I mean, it's
if he
super.
just pulled the trigger when he was supposed to, it would have been done and over. And
Well,
yes,
yeah,
no,
but
I'm just joking.
I'm giving the point to Possessor because it's just freaking more creepy. And yeah, okay.
Is it?
A night,
No, I'm
a night of
sorry.
horror is saying the ending of Possessor definitely knocked you over the head.
Yeah.
No doubt
Mhm.
about it. No doubt.
Yes.
Ginger Ninja saying Possessor was way creepier. The substance was gruesome in a great way, but Possessor just had a creepy vibe through it, thanks to Andrea Riseborough. Yeah, it's true, man. She just, even her performance was very creepy. So yeah, I agree with that.
I wasn't creeped out. I'm sorry, but it
No,
wasn't.
well, yeah,
Nah.
it is what it is.
I
Okay,
know.
next
I'm
up.
saying.
Next up, when we talk about the direction of these films, Eric, and which of course includes so many different facets from A to Z, who do you want to give the point to between Coralie and Brandon? Who gets the point?
I'm giving it to Coraline and the substance. Brandon has a lot of pressure because of who his dad is, and he's doing a body horror movie. But that notwithstanding, Coraline is a female. She's a female director in the horror genre, which there is not a lot of. You know what I mean? So she has that pressure. She's working with Demi Moore. You know what I mean? There's pressure with that. But the fact that when I watched this movie for the first time, I wanted to know as much as I could about it because I enjoyed it that much. And the fact that the original studio that she was with wanted to cut the entire finale. They said it's too gruesome, it's too over the top, and she basically said, screw you, it's not happening. And I don't know her, her other work. I don't know if this was her first work, but that took a lot of balls for her to say, screw you guys, I'm going to this other company who let her pretty much present her movie the way she wanted it, and that takes a lot of guts to do. So I got to give her props for that. And then look where it's gotten her. You know what I mean? With all these Academy Award nominations. So just got to give it to her.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because it was the distribution and everything was absolutely crazy. Nobody believed in this film, and now here we are with the
And the fact that
nominations
it's a
for.
horror movie. Yeah,
That's
man.
right.
I
That's
bet
something
that
huge.
original company is really kicking themselves in the butt now
Oh,
for saying,
Oh, I'm
we're
sure.
not doing
hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And kudos to that other company. More companies should do that. Directors have a vision. You should let them do it because the movie's probably going to be 10 times better than the fuck up that you end up putting out. So, yeah,
all you
man.
got to do is take that chance and look.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right. All right,
Mm-hmm.
Coriander, who are you going to give the point to between Substance and Possessor for
Yeah.
direction?
Obvious to the young lady. I don't know how old she is, but yeah.
Okay. All
Her.
right.
What's her name? What was her name again?
Coralie.
There you go.
For me, I think that both of these films, they have some fantastic direction. You don't do these types of movies and half-ass it, in other words. Brandon, of course, like you said, Eric, stepping into the shoes of his father, and I mean that's just a huge task, and to kind of cement yourself, that was a lot to do. But like you said earlier, no one believed in the substance, the distributors, the studio, and also, like you said, the whole idea with the finale. And I think that what a comeback story. We've talked about the substance a little bit. We've done our watch party for it, which was fantastic. If you guys weren't there, you got to check it out. We had a great watch party with the audience. So I'm going to give the point. I say all that to say I'm going to give the point to the substance. I think what she was able to do with this film, as far as how it was crafted, but also just the journey. I think that's a big part of it because it shows who you are as an artist. To kind of keep pushing forward no matter what, even when no one believes in you. So I gotta go with the substance. Yeah. And it was the right decision. I think, and of course we'll probably get to that, but I think it was the right decision. Everything that she wanted to do with this film, I think that she was able to accomplish. So, okay. Next up, you knew we were going to go there sooner or later, Eric. We've got the main characters. We've got Elizabeth, and of course we've got Taja Voss. Who gets the point? Is it Andrea Riseborough or Demi Moore?
Oh, I'm going Demi Moore. I like Andrea's portrayal of she was really good at that detachment, and especially by the end of the film.
Yeah.
But Demi Moore, again, I've said it, she kills it in this. From that, again, this, you can, from the very beginning, everyone's telling her happy birthday. She doesn't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Then the way she reacts to hearing Dennis Quaid in the bathroom, you know what I mean? And then just seeing her deal with being replaced, and then the way when the substance, because they're not following the procedure correctly, how she's dealing with the modification of herself. And when she has that breakdown, when she's now binge eating to deal with it. And that scene where she's in the kitchen, she's watching TV. That is a fantastic scene. You know what I mean? And we've said with the acting, Demi has to act through all this makeup, and especially later when she gets more and more old. She deserves, in my opinion, the Golden Globe that she got, and my fingers are crossed for the Oscar. She's so good.
Absolutely. No doubt at all. No doubt at all. Coriander, how about you? When we talk about these main characters, Elizabeth or Voss, who do you give the point to and why?
Obviously it's got to go to Elizabeth. Yeah, she did great, And for Demi to take on this role, she hasn't been in a movie in how long?
It's been a little while.
Look at, look what she's done. I mean, she's being nominated and winning awards, so that's awesome.
Yep. Okay. All right. For me, I definitely got to agree with you guys. As much as I think Andrea did a hell of a job with a very a very complicated role. You know, you're playing a character that is so detached, yet dealing with emotional things. So I think that's very difficult to tackle. But then, of course, Demi is so front and center of the substance, and her arc is just so interesting, and it's visceral and it's emotional. You know, the scene where she's trying to get ready for that date, that whole whatever it was, 10 or 15-minute point in the film where she seemed like she had a ray of hope, you know, because it's an old friend from way back in the day that appreciated her for who she was, not who she became as a famous person. And she literally saw light in the tunnel to get ready for just a regular hangout or date. And then that scene in the mirror, how she couldn't deal with herself. And that was like the whole movie in a 10-minute period. That's basically the whole all you need to know about that movie, and it's all on her shoulders, because if it doesn't work, if she can't make it work, the movie doesn't work, at least on that level. So I've got to go with Demi Moore as Elizabeth in this. So okay, real quick in the chat, Ginger Ninja also saying 100% Elizabeth. Demi Moore owned the role. Andrea is close, but Demi Moore was just amazing to watch. Paula is going with Elizabeth. We've got Jason in the chat. Welcome to the chat. Hope you're doing well and enjoying the conversation. Saying what took me a bit out of the substance was the risk reward. They showed no benefit to trading the bodies. Wasn't it just a recap flash? It didn't show any benefit, only negative effects. Well, I think to me, and we might get into some of this as we go on with a few of the, other categories, but I think to me, it was really just showing how these people are so empty on the inside. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like they're just trying to find something, a rope to hang on to, you know, for their own self identity, you know. And I think that is specifically talking about Demi Moore's character. I think that's what it showed. Is like she was just so desperate to hang on to this idea of herself. Like when she has the picture in her house, in her apartment, you know what I mean? Like that was a representation of who she saw herself as. You know what I mean? So, anyways, it was interesting. It was interesting what they were trying to say about these characters. So, all right, next category. Here we go, Eric. Sue or Colin. So obviously we're talking about our secondary characters, who I think both of them had some fantastic moments. Obviously, Sue, played by Margaret Qualley, and Colin, played by Christopher Abbott. Who are you going to go with in this?
Man, this one's really tough. You can go either way. And I'm not going to say it because one struggled with something more than the other, because their struggles when you watch the movies are really, really tough. But I think I'm going to lean maybe a little bit more towards Sue, because I liked her more. The thing is, even though I talked about how Colin was not in control, I think story-wise for this category, Sue knew what she was getting into, like what Coriander said a couple categories ago, and she honestly didn't really care towards the end of it. You know what I mean? And then she gets those moments. She's like, "Oh, I screwed up," but she's still going more. You know, and she doesn't care. You know, oh, it's mainly Demi Moore that's turning old, for lack of a better term. But then when her teeth start falling out, and she's got to, like Coriander mentioned, staple that picture of Demi Moore to her head. And there's, I don't know, maybe I felt for her more during that situation, even though she's a air quotes more of an unlikable character than Colin, if that makes sense. I'm going with Sue.
Okay, all right. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sue too. She's an evil bitch. So yeah,
There you
man.
go. All right. You know, for me, and it's interesting because both of these characters are the co-lead, so to speak, and kind of like what you guys are saying. Like Colin is a victim in this, you know, and you get that arc from him, which was very subtle, but yet had some powerful moments, especially when he confronts Vaz's husband. And obviously with Sue, she didn't respect the balance, bro. She just,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? She was just all out. But I think that there was interesting variety that she was able to display as her character, is just the way that the character was written. And I think Margaret really did a good job of that. So I'm going to go with Sue as well. I think that just seeing what happened, and then of course at the end with the realization and the desperation, like she was so desperate at the end, and also just like you said, Coriander, just such a bitch, man. So I got to give the edge out to Sue on this one. Okay. Jason saying Margaret Qualley makes that character. I'll have to go with Sue.
Yep.
All right. We got Ginger Ninja saying Sue, she had this almost innocence about her, at least to start, and then she grows more resentful to Elizabeth. A great character growth. Yeah, there was definitely this arc that she went through, no doubt. Okay. Next up, our next category, Dennis Quaid or Jennifer Jason Leigh. We've got some jerks in these films, man. But who gets the point, Eric?
I'm going Jennifer Jason Leigh. Dennis Quaid does what he needs to do. He does what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be a disgusting, slimy TV executive. You know what I mean? He doesn't care about Elizabeth now that she's reached 50. We need, like I said, we need new blood, and he's such a prick. But Jennifer Jason Leigh, she's not a good person. She's not a good person because she's an assassin, you know, or a former assassin. She is helping Vaz detach herself from her family. And when she succeeds, she's happy. She's glad.
Yeah.
And then when she does what she does during the finale, in my opinion, that's worse than anything Dennis Quaid did in that entire movie of The Substance. So I gotta go Jennifer Jason Leigh. But that makes a good villain is when you don't really realize that they're a villain until the movie's over, and you got to kind of process the movie. And she nailed it, man. She nailed it.
Good point. Good point. Okay, Coriander, how about you? Who do you think gets the point? Is it Dennis Quaid or Jennifer Jason Leigh?
Oh yeah, compared to what happens at the end of Possessor and what Dennis is doing in the audience at the end of this movie, it's like, yeah, you have to give it to Jennifer.
Okay. All right. For me, now let me just say this, and again, a lot of you guys haven't seen Possessor, which is too bad. First of all, you got to watch it, but just through our explanation, you might understand this. I think both of these actors, first of all, they're old school actors, and I think they both did a hell of a job. It's good to see, you know, these actors that we loved and enjoyed in the 80s still doing some great work today. That's number one. Dennis Quaid was, like you said, this executive, this TV executive that was just slimy and a jerk, right? And he was great in that role. But I'm giving the point easily to Jennifer Jason Leigh. And that's because you said it really well too, Eric, the villain that you don't see coming. Because throughout this movie, especially in the beginning, you understand what this agency is, but you don't really understand it until the movie continues on and you see how Jennifer Jason Leigh as a character is trying to manipulate Voss or Andrea's character. And it's almost like just doing whatever it takes. You know, she's a boss, but she is manipulating this lady into doing some of the most heinous things ever. And again, that finale, look, there's just no way, there's almost nothing. Well, I don't want to say nothing, but you know, in movies, like I said, I haven't seen something like that since Assault on Precinct 13 from John Carpenter, and that was a movie from 1976, I believe, whatever it was. So this has to go to Jennifer Jason Leigh. All right. All right, next up, the effects. So Eric, when we're talking about the special effects, the practical effects for these films, who gets the point and why?
I'm going to Substance. Both are good. Possessor has really good effects. You know, with the executions, the surgeries, the face, you know, that Voss has right there on the poster.
Yes,
but man, just
gross.
what they do in the Substance, and not just the the finale, which is just fucking balls to the wall craziness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The ending to like the effects at the end of The Substance, it reminded me of Dead Alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he's got the
Yes.
lawnmower and the zombies and stuff like that. But I'm also talking about the practical effects, that the slow buildup of what Demi Moore had to work with. You know what I mean? It starts with a finger and then a little bit of the face. And then by the end of it, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I say this, she kind of looks like, the stereotypical old crone or old witch that you would see, like, Snow White or something like that.
Yeah.
And it looks both amazing and disgusting at the same time. You know what I mean? And the way it looks really, really good. It looks natural because Demi is able to work through it. You know what I mean? And that's what's really, really freaking impressive. So I'm going with The Substance.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I am gonna do The Substance also. The what Demi goes through from beginning to end is pretty crazy. So yeah.
Okay. All right. For me, I think, both of these films, it's just good to see films of today using great practical work. It looks good, it's shot well, it's creative. Again, these are callbacks to the heyday, especially back in the 80s, people like Rick Baker, Rob Bottin, Stan Winston, a lot of the legends, Tom Savini. But this has to go to The Substance. As much as I think Possessor has some really great moments, some creative stuff that it does, it has to go to The Substance, because what you see happen with Demi as well as Sue,
Their
this
final
is
form.
the
Jeez.
final form. I mean, we're talking, look, if you cringed at Seth Brundle in The Fly,
I texted you about that too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it almost felt worse in this, and maybe that's because at the stage at which they were at, and things were falling off, and all of that. You know what I mean? It was just amazing stuff. The final form. I mean, we're talking Evil Dead type of stuff. Callbacks to Sam Raimi, and like you said, Dead Alive. It was just unbelievable for them to go there, and that's again credit to Coralie, as far as making sure that the integrity of the film stayed with what she wanted as a director. Because once you get to that finale, I'm just like, wow, they really went there. This is crazy. So I'm giving the point to The Substance. Okay. In the chat, we've got Paula going with The Substance. We got Ginger Ninja going with The Substance for FX. Outstanding. Yeah, it really was. I mean, again, it's great to see. It's great to see this type of stuff when you're talking about a film of today. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, let's go to our next category. And Eric, both of these movies, I mean, they really go to the limit. They go to 100. But what's the most horrific scene? And that will be the movie that gets the point.
Okay, this is different than like the oh shit moment or oh shit factor category. So I'm gonna go with The Substance, because if a movie can get me to cringe, and I've seen thousands of horror movies, we all have, but if something can get me to cringe, like I don't want to watch that part, it's The Substance, and it's the part where Sue's falling apart. Fingers, the teeth, and that's just, again, you brought up The Fly. The Fly is one of those few movies that I don't want to watch. I know when it's coming up, but it's like, you're watching through the fingers type of thing. And that scene where she's falling apart, especially with the teeth, really, really gets me. But the fact that she still wants to go through with everything is still horrific. You know what I mean? Because her ego and her need to be number one, mix that in there. Yeah, gotta go The Substance because of that.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
Okay. So for me, I think the most horrific scene is the very end to The Substance, where she's on the star
Oh.
and and you know what comes along, and
Yep.
you know, cleans shit, and yeah, man, I
Yeah.
would not want that to happen to me.
Good. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
That is that's a great answer. And
Yeah.
you know,
That's a good one.
so I'm also gonna give the point to the substance. I was almost thinking of a different scene, but you know what, Coriander, you just persuaded me. I agree. That
Yeah,
that
man. No
scene,
way.
it was just it was horrific, but it also was just so sad. It was poetic as well, of
Yes.
course, because she ends up on the star. And I think again, this does not work if Demi Moore isn't good in this film or great
Mm-hmm.
in this film. Like the reason it works is because you felt invested in her. You felt sad for her. You
Mm-hmm.
understood what she was going through. You know that she made the wrong decision, and you were just so sad to see her basically just keep going off that cliff. And like you said, Coriander, when she finds a way to somehow get onto her star and looks up at the stars, and it's almost like a moment of understanding the beauty of the world,
Mm-hmm.
almost as if
Mhm.
she should have understood that before taking the
Mm-hmm.
substance. That's horrific. So kudos to you on that one, Coriander, because that to
And then
me, that's the
yeah.
one.
And when she gets that kind of moment of clarity or freedom or however you want, then she's gone in an instant.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
what really makes it sad. I don't want to say it is, but it's like it's all for nothing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you were just
Pretty
Yeah.
kind of
much, man.
comfortable in your own skin, which I get, it's easier said than done. We all get old, whether we like it or not. If she would
Yeah.
have just stayed how she was, this never would have happened. And it's like
Yeah.
now when she's swept up, it's she's gone, and everyone's already gonna forget about her.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, that also, speaks to, and that's why this movie has so many interesting layers, because that speaks to the whole idea of no matter what she could have become, as far as
Mm-hmm.
in her mind's way of thinking, time will always pass.
Yep.
And the
But not
spotlight is
only
always,
that, I don't want my body discarded that way.
Mm-hmm.
well,
You know what
right,
I mean? That's
right.
like no way in hell, man.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is, what I was trying to say was, is that no matter what she could have become, that spotlight is going to move on to someone else
Yeah.
regardless. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
I think that also is the realization, because even that star, it showed how it cracked and got old and
Yeah.
everything. So in other
That's
words,
fucking
if
Hollywood. You
it,
know.
right. So in other words, if she could have understood that in the beginning, she would
Mm-hmm.
have saved herself all of this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's very horrific. So all right, real quick in the chat. Ginger Ninja saying, yeah, the final form and the meltdown. Yes, indeed. We got Davey in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Night of Horror saying, when you say assault on 13, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. All right. Next category. You knew we had to talk about it, Eric. Let's talk about the finale of these two films. Of course, that could sometimes be a couple minutes, could be 15 minutes or so. Obviously, with Possessor, we're talking about everything with Voss and the confrontation with her family. And of course, with the substance, we're talking about once we get to that final performance on stage. Who gets the point? And more importantly, why?
I've already showed my cards, man. I'm going Possessor. Substance was great. It was like, so over the top and disgusting
Mm-hmm.
in a fun way, for a horror fan. And then what we just talked about with Demi on the star. And I'll keep this as vague as possible because of the subject matter of Possessor. But there's a lot to process with that ending.
Yeah.
When Vaz takes out her, well, it's like, is it Vaz taking out, or is it, what's his name, Colin?
Yeah,
The
well,
one, the one who's you know what I mean? But
Wasn't it
yeah,
the
his
doctor, right?
his body, basically,
yeah,
whoever
his body.
takes out the husband, or he's
Yeah,
going to take out the husband, and then who is he taken out by?
right.
The son.
Mm-hmm.
And then the son is no more. You know what I mean? For
Yeah,
lack of
yeah,
a
yeah,
better
yeah.
term. But what really sticks with you, and it's not just the fact that what happens to the young boy, you got to remember the process. Okay, Jennifer Jason Leigh's in control of the young boy. So that means this young boy was taken against his will by her so she can get into him. And that's just fucked, dude. And that sticks with you. And when you have an ending like that, that just kind of that sticks with you and it just makes you feel dirty. And then you realize how bad of a person Jennifer Jason Leigh is. That's where it clicks for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where she's the best villain.
Mm-hmm.
That's a finale. I'm going with Possessor.
All right. Okay. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah. So the ending to The Substance for me was, it got, a little too crazy. Because I really enjoyed the movie up into a certain point where, it got a little too much, but it was still a good ending at the very end. But The Possessor, definitely. That's a movie that, an ending I won't forget. Just because it's like, it's one of those, holy shit, did I just see that? And so I'm gonna have to give it to The Possessor.
Okay. Yeah, for me, this is so difficult because both films, I think, have great finales. And I think both films, visually that is, but also just the subject matter of what's going on. I think there's a lot that both of these movies are saying. But overall, I've got to edge this out to Possessor. And just echoing a little bit of what you guys said, the thing about Possessor is visually it's hitting you, and it's also hitting you with the themes, not as much as The Substance, but the thing that Possessor does is almost like as you're watching it, you almost can't believe it. Whereas with The Substance, kind of like what you said, Coriander, it goes way over the top, and you're just like, okay, so now this movie has become this with the final form. We're doing like you said, Eric, Dead Alive, Evil Dead type of thing going on. And it's super over the top. With Possessor, it like hits you right over the head, and it's like, oh my God. And
They
then
went
they went there, and then you had to think. You're like, wait a minute, so that means that this happened and that happened and this choice was made. And you said Jennifer Jason Leigh, as far as doing what she did, which was so despicable.
Yep.
But here's the other part. Voss was okay with it.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing that gets me. So Andrea Riseborough, as her character, was okay with the choice that
Well, probably because she realized, right, she had no choice.
well,
Right? That
maybe, but either way, it's like, bro, you're talking about your son. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to deal with the manipulation that Jennifer Jason Leigh's character has, because she's that ice cold. Because like I said, when she finally detaches, with the scene with it's either a moth or a butterfly, you know what I mean? And then she either doesn't remember, she doesn't feel sympathy for being the one that killed it. And Jennifer Jason Leigh's like, okay, good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, and the way Brandon Cronenberg, he goes back and forth between the characters, holding the weapon, for lack of a better term. There's a quick clip. If you blink and you miss it, Voss is holding the gun. And then it's back to Colin. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's one of these, again, you got to watch this movie at least twice for it to click, because the fact that Jennifer Jason Leigh had to abduct the son to get into his body, that didn't click with me until this watching.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. It hits you so quick, and then you have to realize it, you have to absorb it. And that's a good point too, because when it happens and they show Voss and also Colin, it's all because they're fighting, their wills are fighting in his body. That's the thing. And you're sitting there like, oh my God, she did that. And it's very powerful. So yeah, I gotta edge this out to Possessor. No shade to The Substance, which was a fantastic finale too, but that Possessor, man, like I'm telling you, I just like, oh my God. And when you really just think about it, it's like crazy. So, all right, real quick in the chat, we got Hollywood Guy in the house. What's going on? Good to see you, man. Glad that you came by. Ginger Ninja is saying, I got to go with The Substance. Okay. Night of Horror saying, ooh, finale. This is the hardest category so far, but I have to go with The Substance visually, but also for what it represents. Okay. All right. Paul is going with The Substance. We got Jason in the house We got Mary in the house. What's going on, Mary? Good to see you guys. And as usual, if you guys have not hit the like button, please do. It helps us out, and we'd appreciate it. Mary saying, hey, everyone, I've not seen either of these, but I need to check them out. Yes, guys, absolutely. Please, 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 when we do these battles, please take the time to check them out. That's what makes it fun for us, is hearing you guys' comments and thoughts on both films, because otherwise we could just record our debate and then just, put it out there. So, okay, so next up, we've got our final category. And as always, this is the last opportunity. If you do want to send in a super chat to put points to one of your films to help it win, as always, the big thing is, which film are we going to choose? So, Eric, which film are you going to choose between The Substance and Possessor?
100% The Substance. I loved it from beginning to end. Love the characters. Possessor I really, really like, but it does have a very slow burn. After that opening sequence, it has a very slow burn, and you got to be committed to this movie. Because if you're not, you might turn it off, because there's a lot of weird shit in that movie we haven't discussed yet. You know what I mean? With the dream sequences and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you stick with it, I think you're really going to enjoy it. But The Substance, that's just a whole nother animal, man, from beginning to end. I absolutely loved everything about this, and I'm very happy to see all the nominations it's getting.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great. It'd be great if they can get a win or two. It's great. It's great to be nominated. But I think it would be absolutely amazing if they could get a win or two out of. I think it's been nominated for 4 things. I think
4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Coriander, how about you? Who are you going to give the point to for the choosing?
So like I said, towards the beginning of this program here, The Possessor, I was kind of taken out the first half of the movie. And I don't know if I really want to sit through another watch to give it another try, at least not too soon. I mean, I saw the ending. I'm glad I could say, hey, yeah, I saw that movie. Great ending. But, well,
that's fair.
I'm not saying, what happened was great, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Substance, definitely.
Okay. All right. For me, I think both of these films, and shout out and credit to Kill for putting this battle together, because this was something I didn't even think about. And he said to me, hey, how about if we do The Substance versus Possessor? And I was like, holy shit, that's a crazy parallel. But these films have a lot in common. And this whole idea of body horror, one being very physical and one being very cerebral. And I thought to myself, man, that's a great idea for a battle. Also, shout out to my sister-in-law. Happy birthday. But I have to edge this one out to The Substance, because I think it was able to do so much on a variety of levels, as we've gone through some of these categories. And it just makes me realize how it was able to touch upon so many different things. It has different vibes throughout the film. You have a little bit of that dark humor, you have the horror, you have the emotion, you have those types of things going on with the characters and their arc. So I'm going to edge this one out to The Substance. All right. Real quick, Paul is going with The Substance. Okay. All right. Very, very cool. So guys, let's do this. Just as we do a quick recap, Eric, we'll start with you. Just any final thoughts on these films while I count up the points and see who wins. This was kind of close.
Yeah, definite shout out to Killian for this idea, because anytime that I can talk about The Substance, I want to. It's one of my favorite horror movies I've seen in the last, I don't know, handful of years. Frenzy and we even did a stream, our top 5 each horror movies of last year, and The Substance was the only film that was on both of our lists because we enjoyed it that much. From beginning to end, it's so good. I'm so happy for Demi having this little bit of comeback now with The Substance. And it kind of speaks to her now, because how she was big in the 80s and 90s, and now she's just kind of doing bit parts, you know what I mean, here and there. And then now she's here. And Possessor, I really enjoy, but again, kind of like Coriander says, it's not a movie I'm gonna watch tomorrow. You know what I mean? Or rewatch, in a couple months. It is a lot to process, especially after that ending, and it is a very slow burn. It's not for everybody, but I think overall, once you get past a lot of the trippy stuff, which a lot of people will just, I know for a fact, so I know some people that once it got to like the dream sequences, because they are so out there, they turn the movie off. So it's not for everybody, but if you can sit it out and go through it, there's a lot to process and a lot to enjoy and a lot of good acting in Possessor. So I think tonight was really, really good, a good battle. But like I said, anytime I can talk about the substance, I want to, because I loved it that much.
How about you, Coriander? Any quick thoughts before we continue?
I mean, the substance I've seen twice now. And yeah, it's a good movie. But I mean, I've seen it now and I've seen it twice. I want to wait, a little bit before I see it again. I don't know how long, but I'm not gonna like watch it in like, I don't know, anytime soon. But
Okay. All
and
right.
with Possessor, I'm not saying, possess the same. You guys already heard what I said about that. So yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing to piggyback too, and you just said it, and Eric also said it too, that especially talking about Possessor may not be for everyone. I think one thing that was interesting is um there was a vibe in that film that felt a little bit like the old Cronenberg films, because some of his early films isn't for everyone, whether you're
Right.
talking about like Rabbit or Videodrome gets super weird, and it's not up everyone's alley. And I think that whether it was on purpose or maybe just you know excuse me, following in his footsteps of his father, I think Possessor also has some of those vibes too. It has like a coldness to it. It's kind of very again, it's just it can be tough, for some people, but so can the substance. So this was a good battle. We went back and forth, but we do have a winner. We've got a score that was close at first, and then we got the super chat from Ben coming in. So a score of 29 to 19, and the winner is the substance.
Yes.
There it is. There it is. So again, hopefully it can win some of these nominations that it has, and try to put horror on the map. Could you imagine if Demi Moore wins an Oscar for The Substance after such a great career?
I couldn't believe when she won the Golden Globe. She said that's her first ever award when it comes to acting.
Yeah.
And I looked, I did, air quotes, the research. I looked online. This is like the fifth film that's been nominated for Best Picture: Jaws, The Exorcist, Silence of the Lambs, and then there was one more I'm missing. But
Get Out.
It hasn't won. Get Out. It hasn't won since Silence of the Lambs. So
that's right.
I'm hoping, dude.
Yeah, man. I think that and it's not to sound weird about it, but I think all of us as horror fans in this whole horror community, it's just it's great to have that positive energy towards this, because again, I strongly believe this. I've said this since first starting talking about movies on YouTube. I feel as though a win for a horror film is a win for the whole genre.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if The Substance can win something, then it's a win for all of us as horror fans. It's a win for all horror movies. It's a win for all the actors that have come before that should have had more spotlight and recognition. And there's a lot of films and a lot of actors and actresses that should have had, more recognition than what they've had. So it's almost like, The Substance is representing, horror and the dreams of all these artists.
Well, horror, it's a lack of a better term. Horror is always looked at as like the redheaded stepchild when it comes to movies. It never gets the credit. When Demi Moore, sadly, when she won the Golden Globe, it was for like musical and comedy. What the hell is funny about The Substance? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I get it. A lot of times, this is my opinion. A lot of times there aren't enough horror movies that deserving of nominations every year to get its own category. I get that.
Right.
But it's a step in the right direction. And even if I don't like the film, you know my opinion, I'm not a big fan of the Terrifier films. I'm happy those films are making money because it means horror is getting the recognition, and it's opening up the more doors for independent horror. You know what I mean? Since Terrifier 3 was so successful, it's opened up the doors for a lot of little indie horrors to get wide distribution and stuff like
That's
that.
right.
People might not give a damn about this Toxic Avenger movie that's finally coming out with Peter Dinklage and Kevin Bacon. It was deemed unreleasable. But because of the success of Terrifier 3 and some of it with the substance, a distribution company has now bought the rights, and it's going to get released not just streaming, but it will have a theatrical release too. So it's just these little victories can lead to somebody else's victory.
Yeah, and like right now, there's a young person that is being inspired by the substance, or Coralie, or Damian Leone, who, you know, just funded this whole Terrifier movement with the fans, you know, and on his own without the studios helping. So there are people being inspired by this, and that is a good thing because it's going to keep horror strong, keep it going. And I'm happy to see it. I'm really happy to see it. Horror Cat Dad, what's up, bro? Saying Demi definitely deserves to win the Oscar for sure. No doubt. No doubt. I'm going to be pulling for her, man. We'll see what happens. We got Jerry in the house too. What's up, Jerry? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, guys. Well, this was a lot of fun. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. Again, as always, make sure you hit the like button, leave us some comments, and definitely, if you get a chance, check out Possessor. And you know, again, when we have our next battle set up, try to see both films, guys, because then you'll definitely know, you know, as far as voting on these categories, which one deserves it in your own opinion, of course. So we will catch you guys next time. Take it easy. And as always, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Cheers.
Object.